Hello. Today I'm gonna show you how to create a program, how to write a program that will convert the time in seconds to a more common format in hours, minutes, and seconds. So first we're gonna do it by declaring a variable and assigning some number of seconds to it, and then we're gonna learn how to read the input from the user. So the first thing we want to do always is create a new project, file new Java project, and I'll call it TimeConversion. And of course we need to create a new class here. I'll call it again TimeConversion. So as you already learned, the first thing we want to do is declare the main method. I hope by now you all know how to declare a main method. And inside here we will need to have to declare a few variables. First of all, we will need a variable that will store the time in seconds. So this variable will be of type integer because seconds is a whole number, it's an integer. And we can assign some random value to it. So let's say we can assign 3600 seconds, which is equivalent to 1 hour. In addition to that, we will also need to have a variable for the hours, so which is again an integer because hours is integers, though in some cases it might be meaningful to have 1.5 hours, but in this case we want to display the time like in a digital clock, so it has to be an integer, and we'll initialize it to 0. We declare another variable of type integer for the minutes, and again initialize it to 0, and one more variable, seconds, and also we will initialize this one to 0 again. Okay, so those are the 4 variables we need. As you can see here, the first thing we do when we declare a variable, we specify the type. In this case, it's integer. Then the name of the variable, the assignment operator. So the sign equal in Java is an assignment operator, and it means take the value on the right side and put it in the variable on the left side. In this case, it will place 3600 in the variable called time in seconds. You will notice here the naming of the variables. For variables, we capitalize the first letter in each word except the first letter. So unlike classes where each first letter in a word is capitalized, in variables every first letter is capitalized except the very first one. So that's why time begins with a lowercase letter, and it's the same with the other variables. So to get the number of hours, we're going to write hours is equal time in seconds, and we'll divide it by 3600, which is 3600 is the number of seconds in an hour. Now, since we're dividing two integers, time in seconds is an integer and 3600 is an integer, this will result in what it's called in Java an integer division. Integer division in Java means if we're dividing two integers, the result will be an integer. That is a whole number. There won't be anything after the decimal point. There won't be a decimal point. To do that, if we want to have something like that, we have to use variables of type double. So this way, if we divide, for example, 3600 by 3600, it will give us 1 hour. Now we also want to, now because we already divided by 3600, we actually got the part with the hours, so we just want to get what is the remainder, because the remainder is seconds that need to be converted to minutes and seconds. To do that, we're going to write time in seconds is equal to time in seconds modulus 3600. So don't be confused here, because in math, for example, this will not be a valid statement. You can't have x equal x times 3600 or whatever. But you have to remember that in Java, this equal sign is an assignment operator, so it's not equality. And what it means is evaluate the right side and then store it in the variable to the left. So first it's going to take this value and calculate the remainder when dividing by 3600, and then the remainder will be stored in time in seconds. Next thing we want to do is get the minutes. Minutes in this case will be time in seconds divided by 60. And again, this is an integer division, so it will give us only the whole number, no decimal points. And seconds will be the time in seconds modulus 60. So that is whatever is remaining is the second. To display this, we're going to use system.out.println. Let's write the time is. So the time is. Now we're going to use the plus sign, which is concatenation when working with strings. Because here we have one string, Java will be smart enough to convert the variables to string and create a single message. So this plus sign when working with strings and variables is treated as concatenation. That is, it will just glue together the values. So the time is hours plus is plus. Now we can move to the next line just by pressing enter here, and we can continue typing in our code here. The next thing we have is minutes, again a colon, and seconds. And this will give us the desired result. So let's try run this code. So save it and run it. So it will show us that the time is 1:00. And if we want to, we can change this 36 to be something else. Let's say 36:99. Save it, run it. We will see it's 1 hour, 1 minute, and 39 seconds. Let's try another value like 8035. Save it and run it. So we're going to get it's 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 55 seconds. So that's all about the programming logic of how to convert time in seconds to hours, minutes, and seconds. But we also want to learn how to read the time in seconds from the user instead of us going here and changing this variable and then compiling the code and running it again. Whenever we want to read input from the user, the first thing we want to do is import the java.util.scanner. This is a library that contains a scanner that can be used for reading input from the user. So this is the syntax. Whenever you need to read something from the user, import the scanner at the very beginning. Right after that, we have to create a variable of type scanner that will be used for reading the input from the user. We're going to do that at the very beginning of the main method. So to do this, we specify the type of the variable, which in this case it's scanner. So this is a special class, and you don't have to worry much about this. We're going to learn later on in the class. For now, you'll just have to remember this line. It's scanner input is equal to new scanner of system.in, and that's it. So how can we interpret this line? It means we have a new variable called input of type scanner, and this is a scanner for reading from the system input, system.in. So that's how we're specifying where we want to read from. So this is our new variable. Now, since we have this, we can initialize time to be 0 here, because anyhow we're going to read it later. To read it, right after these variables, we're going to write time. First, we have to display a message to the user so the user knows what to enter. Enter the time in seconds, and then time in seconds is equal input.next int. And that's pretty much all we had to do here. So let's just run this code again. Let's enter 7654, and it will show it to 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 34 seconds. So the program looks quite good, but there's one more improvement that we can make. As you can notice here that we use this constant, literal constants, when they're written like this, or often they're called magic numbers, and they're not really good because they make your code more difficult to read. It's better to have more meaningful names. And to help us with this, Java has some specific type for constants, and those are called final variables. And what that means is that if we declare a variable to be final, we cannot change its value. So it's useful for constants like this because the number of seconds in an hour never changes. It's been the same for thousands of years. The number of seconds in a minute also doesn't change. Pi, the mathematical constant, the number of days in a month, and so on. So let's do this. Let's declare final variable, final int. So the final always has to go before the type of the variable. And let's write seconds in hour 3600. And one more for the minutes, seconds in minutes is equal to 60. So as you can see, the name of these final variables are slightly different. We follow a different naming convention here. All letters are capital and the words are separated by underscore. Now we just need to change it here and here also. One more change and we're almost done. So that's it. Now the code looks way nicer. It's very easy to understand. Even somebody that doesn't know programming, if they look at this code, they will be able to tell what it really does. They will be like, oh, well, hours is the time in seconds divided by seconds in hour. And this is really clear what is happening. We can just give it one more final test. Enter value. Okay, that works. So thanks for watching.